Introduction: The Quiet Contradiction. What if the life you're trying to build is built on a misunderstanding? From the moment you became aware of yourself, you were taught something that seemed undeniable. Happiness is the goal. Avoid pain, reduce stress, find comfort, build a life where nothing hurts. It sounds reasonable. It sounds logical. It sounds like the right way to live. And yet, your actual life tells a very different story. Because no matter how much you try to avoid discomfort, you keep running into it. Not just externally, but internally. You replay conversations that are already over. You imagine problems that haven't happened. You hold on to emotions you know you should let go of. And even in moments where everything is finally calm, something feels off. There's a restlessness, a subtle tension, a feeling that something is missing. And instead of staying in peace, your mind starts searching for problems, searching for pressure, searching for something to fix. Almost as if peace itself feels unnatural. This is the contradiction most people never question. If humans are wired for happiness, why does happiness feel so unstable? Why does comfort fade so quickly? Why does struggle feel so significant? According to Friedrich Nietzsche, it's because you've been aiming at the wrong target. Chapter 1: The Illusion of Happiness. The idea that humans are meant to be happy all the time is not ancient wisdom. It's not biological truth. It's a relatively modern belief. In earlier times, survival, not happiness, was the priority. Meaning, not comfort, was the focus. People didn't expect life to feel easy. They expected it to demand something from them. And in that demand, they found purpose. But over time, especially in modern society, the goal shifted. We began to believe that suffering is a problem to eliminate, that discomfort is something to escape, that a good life is a painless one. But something strange happened. As comfort increased, so did anxiety. As convenience improved, so did emptiness. People became safer, more stable, more comfortable than ever before, and yet they felt more lost. This isn't a coincidence, because happiness, as most people define it, is fragile. It depends on circumstances, on things going right, on life aligning with expectations. But life doesn't work like that. And more importantly, you don't work like that. Chapter 2: The Deeper Drive Beneath Everything. Nietzsche believed that beneath all human behavior, there is a deeper force. Not the desire for pleasure, not the avoidance of pain, but something far more fundamental. The will to power. This isn't about dominance over others. It's not about control in the traditional sense. It's about expansion. The internal drive to grow, to overcome, to transform, to become more than what you currently are. And this drive is not optional. It exists whether you're aware of it or not. It operates beneath your decisions, beneath your habits, beneath your identity. And here's where everything shifts. Growth is not comfortable. Becoming stronger requires resistance. Becoming wiser requires struggle. Becoming something new requires letting go of something old. And letting go almost always hurts. So if your deepest drive is to evolve, and evolution requires discomfort, then discomfort is not something you avoid. It's something your system moves toward, even if your conscious mind disagrees. Chapter 3: The Patterns You Don't Notice. Once you understand this, you start to see patterns everywhere, not just in others, but in yourself. Why do people stay in relationships that clearly harm them? Not just briefly, but for years. Why do people sabotage opportunities right before they succeed? Why do people create stress when things are finally going well? These behaviors don't make sense if happiness is the goal, but they make perfect sense if meaning is. Because meaning often requires intensity. A peaceful life can feel empty. A predictable routine can feel lifeless. A stable situation can feel insignificant. So the mind creates contrast. It introduces tension, conflict, challenge. Not because it wants to suffer, but because it wants to feel something real. Because intensity creates presence, and presence creates meaning. This is why chaos can feel addictive, not because it's enjoyable, but because it's engaging. It pulls you into the moment. It forces you to respond. It makes you feel alive. And in a strange way, that aliveness can become preferable to calm emptiness. Chapter 4. The Brain's Hidden Trade-Off. Modern psychology has begun to uncover something similar. Humans don't just seek pleasure, they seek significance. And those two things are not the same. Pleasure is immediate. It feels good in the moment, but it fades quickly. Meaning, on the other hand, is built over time. It often requires effort, sacrifice, discomfort, but it lasts longer. Studies in psychology consistently show that people who pursue meaning-oriented goals, growth, purpose, contribution, report deeper, more stable fulfillment than those who chase pleasure alone. This is sometimes described as the difference between hedonic happiness, pleasure-based, eudaimonic fulfillment, meaning-based. And here's the key difference. Hedonic happiness depends on things going right. Eudaimonic fulfillment can exist even when things go wrong, which means suffering does not destroy meaning. It can create it. And once you understand that, your entire perception shifts. Chapter 5. Why Comfort Feels Empty. Now, imagine something extreme. A life with no resistance. No problems, no stress, no uncertainty. Everything is easy. Everything works. Everything is smooth. At first, it feels perfect. But over time, something changes. You lose your sense of direction. Your motivation fades. Your energy drops. Because there is nothing demanding growth from you. And without growth, there is no movement. Without movement, there is no progress. And without progress, there is no meaning. So the mind does something unexpected. It creates friction. It searches for challenges. It introduces pressure. It finds problems to solve. Not because it's malfunctioning, but because it's trying to restore balance. Because a life without struggle is not a fulfilled life. It's a stagnant one. Chapter 6. Amor, Fati, the Turning Point. This is where Nietzsche introduces one of his most powerful ideas, Amor, Fati. Love your fate. Not just accept it. Not just tolerate it. Love it. Everything. The good moments, the painful moments, the failures, the confusion, the setbacks. Because every part of your experience is part of your development. And if you reject certain parts, you reject the process itself. Amor fati is not passive. It doesn't mean doing nothing. It doesn't mean staying stuck. It means recognizing that every experience, no matter how difficult, has a role in shaping who you become. And instead of resisting it, you integrate it. You use it. You allow it to transform you. Chapter 7. Rewriting your relationship with pain. Once you begin to see suffering differently, your entire relationship with life changes. Pain is no longer just something to escape. It becomes information, a signal, a challenge, an opportunity for growth. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you begin to ask, "What is this asking from me? What is this shaping me into?" And that shift creates power. Because now you are no longer reacting blindly. You are engaging consciously. You are participating in your own transformation. Chapter 8. The truth most people avoid. The reason this idea is uncomfortable is because it removes a certain illusion. The illusion that life is supposed to be easy. It forces you to confront something deeper. That struggle is not an interruption. It is part of the design. And once you accept that, you stop wasting energy resisting reality. You stop fighting every difficult moment. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances. And you start seeing yourself as someone in the process of becoming. Conclusion. The shift you can't undo. You were never meant to avoid suffering completely. You were meant to engage with it, to learn from it, to grow through it. And once you understand that, everything changes. The way you see challenges, the way you interpret pain, the way you move through life. Because now, you're no longer chasing a life without struggle. You're building a life with meaning. And meaning is what gives everything depth. So the next time you feel discomfort, don't just try to escape it. Pause. Look at it differently. Because the thing you're trying to avoid might be the exact thing that's shaping you into who you're meant to become. And once you truly understand that, you'll never experience suffering the same way again.